All right, Pot of Gold, welcome back. I'm Brett. I'm here with Mike, Grant the intern, behind the glass as usual in a remote location. LSU beats Florida 45-35 in what we'll probably look back on as the most fun weekend, the most fun Saturday of college football this season. There may be one that catches it, but I mean, if Michigan Penn State maybe was a little bit of a closer game, it would have been like the ultimate, just like wall to wall weekend of college football. Mike, I don't know. You can find us on Twitter at pot of gold, at gold Mike, pot of gold at gmail.com, at Grant the intern behind the glass at patreon.com. Where are we going, Mike? Steer us.
Well, you got to update. You got to update your name. You got Grant under there. We always do like a nice little round robin of names whenever we get
I
started. So
changed it when I had to get back in because my
Yeah.
headphones didn't work.
I'll let you take care of that while I kind of steer the ship for a second here. But yeah, dude, like you said, man, amazing weekend of college football, just start to finish. Had the triple TVs going before the Surface Pro finally went out. That's fine because I had my MacBook ready to roll on the ground with my alternate channels.
Always worried about battery. You're like, well, this game's kind of out of hand. I can get rid of this stream for 15
Yeah,
minutes
let me
here.
cool the fan off. Let the fan do its work or whatever they do nowadays. But yeah, dude, amazing college football Saturday. And I fired off a tweet a couple weeks prior to this talking about how I really hate that it's October and we really don't have anything exciting to look forward to as LSU fans. That turned around pretty quickly. Brian Kelly, we talked about it in the pod before. We're riding, right? I truly believe that this Florida game is going to come down to who is going to have this program focused and let these kids know and let them buy in to believe that they still have something to play for. LSU got their ass kicked against Tennessee, and they did everything in their power to make sure that these kids knew it's attention to detail, it's focused. You are a good team if you execute. Let's go execute on the road. And they did it. They came out guns blazing on offense. Defense, obviously, we had some things we need to work on, but we gave up two big plays based on field position. There's a lot of things that you can say.
Yeah, the 35 is a little misleading. I mean, there's two big plays, which obviously your defense has to stop, make tackles, whatever. Cam Newton flashbacks like it's Vietnam. But, short field off the muff punt. It's like the defense, I thought the defense early on got off the field on some third downs. Like the defense was better than I think 45-35 looks like.
Yeah, you got to make some tackles, and then we got to stop having the camera follow Mr. Bullshit Yellow Hat. I mean, Brian Polian and the yellow hat, I feel like that is the staple of our season so far.
Massive Curious George vibes for sure.
Yeah, I did. I had the cartoon in my head, but I'm like, maybe Brett with the child.
Oh yeah, have a 2-year-old and you'll read Curious George Goes to Bed and stuff like that. It's great.
Does he have the shakes? Does Polian have the shakes?
It was
am I the only one that keeps seeing this?
No, it was strange. On the muff punt, you could see his hand just kind of like.
Well, like his
let's keep that hand down, Grant. Let's keep that hand below. That's
like
his chin drops and he just starts with the whole like
he's just like, we gotta stop this.
Yeah, he's just like, my God, am I gonna get fired already? Like, yeah, dude, you are. But no, we gotta
it's truly unbelievable that ESPN went into this with like a dedicated coaches camp, but for not Brian Kelly, but for Bill Polian.
Yeah,
whatever his name is, Bruce Polian.
Brian, right?
Brian, Bill. I said Bill. I knew it wasn't Bill. It's Brian.
BP. No, but yeah, aside from the
but at the same time, it's like, once again, I'll say this again, like I'm down to hammer Polian and special teams, but like at what point do we have to say like, well, Jack Best just try to catch the ball with his hands?
Yeah, well, you can't line up for a punt and have a fucking false start or a procedural penalty on special teams. That's the shit that gets you canned.
Agreed.
Not the punts. Like, I agree that's yeah.
I can't stop singing Rocky Top in my head.
I've been singing Dixieland Delight.
Oh, see, I've just been Rocky Top.
Like I cranked open the fridge earlier and was just like grabbing a drink, just like Dixieland Delight.
I've just been singing I Won't Back Down.
Yeah, really cool video. I Won't Back Down. LSU football put out the video of us, the highlights of LSU singing Dixieland, not Dixieland Tonight, Rocky Top, or no. Where am I at here? Won't back down. Tom Petty. Yeah. Really cool clip. Everyone's seen it by now.
Yeah.
One of the better things LSU's like media has put out in a while. Very, very good.
Well, just the fact that, and that's what I said in the group me. That's why you're paying this guy $10 million a year, right? To identify what's going to get these kids to understand his process. He identified, hey, I know that this song's going to be played in the fourth quarter, right? Let's get this song, let's get these lyrics in your head right now. Let's understand that that's a
Embrace it.
comforting feeling because we're going to be up big on them in the fourth quarter. And it came true. And you could see the confidence and the comfort of them just kind of singing that song on the sideline, getting pumped up in the fourth quarter in the swamp on the road against an SEC opponent, which people have hyped up because of the whole Billy Napier tie, which I hope that we can just silence that now, Glenn. Like,
Guys,
enough.
he was just not a candidate. Like, I understand it's a talking point. And like, once again, I think Napier's going to probably be a good coach. He just wasn't, when you hired Scott Woodward, Billy Napier that was when Billy Napier lost the LSU job. But no, it's really cool. I really enjoyed seeing Brian Kelly just like embrace that moment and what's going to happen and the environment. Like, it seems like he is thoroughly enjoying the SEC and the environments that come with it. Like, he's singing along with Tom Petty, and it's like, yeah, man, it's pretty cool. Like, it actually does. The stupid saying is right. Like, it means more. Like, these stadiums are packed and just ready to go when I'm used to going and playing Indiana, and it's like, oh yeah, this is fine.
Yeah, he's never
no,
experienced
It's
it.
fun to watch. It's
Brian
fun to watch
Kelly's
Brian
growing.
Kelly enjoying it.
Yeah, Brian Kelly is growing as a coach, and he's taking ownership over the mistakes, right? Like, hey, guys, we got our ass kicked against Tennessee. We need to execute better. We need to coach better. We need to dial it up. We need to turn it up with the coaches now. And they did that. And you could tell that the focus was on confidence right out of the gate. First drive, right? You got a 3rd and 8. Jaden stays in the pocket. It's the first time that you see him actually not have to depend on his legs. He steps up and he hits Booty for like a 40+ yard gain on the first drive. And it just starts from there. You got great runs by Josh Williams, who we really need to take a pause and talk about how silently in the background, the Godfather, Frank Wilson, is just grooming this running back crew that we all kind of wrote off as, damn, we really don't have that bell cow that we usually have, and we really need somebody to step up eventually. We have something to look forward to maybe in Trey Holly next year, yada, yada, yada. You got a walk-on turn scholarship player, Josh Williams, who has gotten better and better every single game, and I think that has a lot to do with, one, the type of kid he is, but two, Frank Wilson is getting these kids ready in that running back room. It's taken some time, but they are finding grass, and they're eating, man. They're eating
Side note on Frank, I very much enjoyed during the LSU Gold episode for the Tennessee game. Like, it's overshadowed because we just get absolutely pummeled. But they're doing like waking everyone up at 5 a.m. or whatever, and Frank's just fully dressed in the hallway, like screaming, like getting people
up,
hyped.
time to
He's
wake up.
Yeah, he's like, let's hit somebody today. Like, it was just, I think he says like a great morning to hit somebody or something.
Yeah.
I was just, it got me jacked up, even though I knew like the next 5 minutes of that film was not going to be fun.
No. On that same drive, though, Jaden Daniels does make a play that you can sit back and say, this is part of that turning point here. Is a couple plays later, he hits Booty for that 40-yarder. Not the best throw, didn't really lead him well, but he caught him open. It was a couple plays later, he stays in that pocket, shifts his feet, and he drills a bullet to the first down marker where Booty takes a massive hit.
Yeah.
I think it was 2 guys collide at the sticks, but Booty comes down with that ball.
Terrible
Any
spot.
other game, he would have dropped that ball. The guy did not drop the ball. He made a sacrifice getting nailed, but fucking Jaden slammed that ball in there. He rifled it between 2 defenders, and he depended on his arm, and he trusted his wide receiver to come up with the ball. I think at that play forward, these guys developed such a cohesiveness and a trust that it was lights out after that.
And he also trusted his offensive line, because you've said it twice already. And I think the word of the day is staying in the pocket. He trusted his offensive line to hold up, that he was able to stay in the pocket. And also, I think you were really spot on that early on in the year, he had no want to like throw anyone open. Someone had to be open. And this game changed that. Like he
Yep.
was throwing balls. I don't remember. Maybe it was Kyron Lacey. I mean, he lets it go on that comeback well before Lacey stops. Like Jaden Daniels was just completely on fire, money. Like if that dude's going to play like that every week, he's in the NFL.
Yeah, man. And but that's what he's been capable of in the past. And he had to develop that understanding in the SEC and the new offense that he's running and trust those receivers. And like you said, man, this was the first game that it started to happen. And you could see it, dude. The kid's accurate. Like when he has confidence, he can put it on a
Yeah.
dime. That's what's exciting. But then
He feet as a weapon instead of like I'm going to run. It was like, well, when I need to, I'm going to be able to get yards with my feet, but we're just going to
yeah,
pick these guys apart.
some of these runs though, like we sit you if you really sit back and look at them now that like it's not out of necessity, it's more of convenience that he can tuck it and say, "You know what? I'm gonna beat you to the corner." They are freaking impressive because the angles that these Florida defenders had on him, there's no reason he should have gained more than 5 yards half the time. And he's
Especially
and
on his
he's just
touchdown run.
galloping into the end zone twice where he had holes that he could have gone to, but he takes the perimeter and still beats the people.
There's nothing that looks cooler, and Jaden Daniels has like such the ability to
With the
do
little
it where
floaty
there's
hop.
guys no, well that, but like they're so fast that they can just like really like kick it down and just like go in the end zone at like a quarter speed because
Yeah.
they're like so quick. And
He's like
it's like
floating.
it's like a fuck you to the defender. Like I'm going to walk in because I
Mhm.
beat you so bad to this corner.
And
And
you
I
might
it's like
stumble
so
and
fun to
fall and look
see.
stupid. And he hits
Yeah.
Emery for his first career touchdown receiving or first receiving touchdown in his career. So Emery starting to get more acclimated into this offense as well to be a
Looking
1-2
better,
punch.
fighting for extra yards. There was a couple times that he was stuck at the line of scrimmage and then all of a sudden kind of like squirted forward for 4 and you're like, "Okay, we can work with that."
Mhm. I
For the
think,
most part, we didn't shoot ourselves in the foot. Like special teams, obviously, again, and it's just what it is, guys. Like every game, we're just going to have to account for some sort of special team, something to shoot us in the face. But I mean, for the most part, a few penalties. Obviously, late in the game where we didn't want them, but the team played a lot cleaner.
mhm. You fast forward, we're down 14-7, and we got the ball again. Another 3rd and 8, that typically we would settle for a field goal after this and be comfortable with it. But he nails Jere Jenkins here. Very accurate pass, 1st and goal. Right after that, he pulls it because the defensive end crashes hard, and there he goes, finding that edge again to tie it up 14-14 with his feet. But because of that trust at that quick slant to Jere Jenkins, putting it on the money. And the receivers coming up with the catches. They met him in the middle here. It wasn't just all Jaden Daniels. This was the first game where all of the wide receivers collectively made difficult catches and built that confidence for Jaden Daniels. So that was huge. You tie it up there.
We'll
Um,
get there. We'll get there.
mhm.
I vote. Let's throw the ball to Brian Thomas more.
Yeah.
God.
That dude is like waking up every game. It's like, oh,
Like
I can do this.
It's just like, "Excuse me, coach."
He
I
moves the
think we
ball too
should
much on the way down too. It's like, got it, good catch, and I'm gonna go
yeah,
tuck it in my left hand. It's like, Brian, just
yeah,
pull it down. Like your ball
just
skills are
grip it.
amazing. Yeah, like no margin for error.
He has an aggressive like, as crazy as it sounds, and Bootie's awesome. Like, there's a world where we look back in 4 years like, "Oh, yeah, that was the best wide receiver on that team."
Dude, we have 2 more years with him. Like, just think about how good like he's a true freshman right now, right? Or was
No,
Brian
No,
Thomas a
he played
sophomore?
he
last
played
year.
last year.
So
Yeah.
so we still okay, sorry, take that back. We still have a whole nother season with this kid to develop. Like by the time the end of next season, we're gonna be like, dude, have fun in the
Wait
pros,
till
man.
Moffitt gets a hold of him.
So the next drive, it's tied up 14-14. Mekhi Gardner comes up with a heavy hit to finish out that drive there. We have a really good stop. And I think that's where the best fumble occurs is like right when we're tied up 14-14. We need a big stop on defense. Mekhi Gardner, that solid corner who is also coming into his own, makes the stop. Boom. Here we go again. They're hollering on the sideline for Besh to scoot up. the sideline coaching from Mr. Polian. And Besh gets rattled and he misses the punt again. I don't know what to say about Jack Besh fumbling these punts 2 games in a row. Neighbors fumbling it twice in a row. It's one of those deals where that can't be fixed. The only way to fix that is for them to just overcome it and to actually field one clean after that. And I think Besh will. And I love, though, how Brian Kelly stuck up for him and said, look, at the end of the day, that's our best guy to do it. He's our best returner, and he's going to get over this. He's got this.
Well,
and that's how we trust him.
And he tied it in. I think it was in the today's press conference. He said Jack Besh, he's never seen, maybe it's his bullshit coach speak, but he's like, I've never seen someone at practice catching so many punts. He got a little nervous and he didn't trust his technique. And that's what we're trying to build into these dudes is when you get nervous, you still trust that technique. And it's like, I just laugh. Mosquito guy going by, Mike, just for you. Heads up.
Nice.
I just laugh at
the here.
No, I just laugh. And it's just like I just laugh at the thought of like the Les Miles or Ed Orgeron, like a previous tenure, like having that type of like thought and like talk about the Jack Besh stuff. And it's just like it's a different era, man. Like we're gonna be more by the book here. We're gonna be more run like a Fortune 500 company.
Yeah, absolutely. With a guy in charge who has done it before. Right. And now he's able to get some really good talent and stockpile that. That's why I can't wait for the future. Like, it's these games that you look back on and say, okay, year 1, maybe we can pull out like 8-4. That'd be a great season. You look back at the road wins at Auburn, at Florida, but individual victories like Jaden Daniels. Hey, that was the first game he stayed in the pocket. Remember that? Like that was a big turning point in our season because Jaden Daniels had finally turned on for him. And then from there on out, it was, let's not kill ourselves. Because we have found a rhythm on offense. Defense is just as advertised, man. Every game, Matt House is actually preparing them for a great game plan. Grant, you about to say something?
Well, something you said kind of triggered something in my mind that
my bad.
I feel like this coaching staff hasn't gotten enough credit. Like we've hit on a lot of freshmen.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
We have stars. We have 2 tackles. We have a star linebacker. We have potentially a star tight end. Walker Howard lingering around. Like we've hit on this recruiting class, and it's been as bad as it was. LSU 500 for 2 years, and a entirely new staff coming in. Like they found some foundational pieces here, and it's like if you do that again, we're looking.
Yeah. So Florida gets the ball back and scores pretty easily. I mean, you give them the ball on their own damn 20, like it's going to happen, right? So we break there. We're down 21-14. You've got 7 minutes left in the half. And I think this is the turning point of our season is this drive. And I know I get all philosophical when it comes to these games and I find the most abstract turning points and plays of the game. But I really believe that this play right here, 7 minutes left in the half, LSU down a score, 3rd and 10, massive first down to Cole Taylor. That is the biggest confidence builder. One, you're hitting Cole Taylor. So you're trusting that 87 is going to come up with a big play, and it's not just a little dink and dunk pass that we're used to seeing Cole Taylor field. This is an actual game on the line, not game on the line, but you're going into halftime down a score now, or tied 21-14, you're down a score now. We are typically used to seeing not being able to execute going into half like this. We convert on this 3rd down.
Not up the seam.
Right up the seam. Beautiful play.
Great route, too. He did a good job shielding.
Yeah, and after that play, you got another tough, hard run by Josh Williams, keeping us going down the field. And then you get that corner strike to Mr. Freak, Brian Thomas in the corner of the end zone. Like, what a confident throw, a beautiful catch, just a perfect drive. Baskerville comes up that next series with a huge sack on 3rd down to get the ball back again, right? Yeah. So we get the ball back again. Kelly pulls Jaden Daniels to the sideline. Who knows what he tells him, but I'm sure it has something to do with trust. I'm sure it has something to do with growing up in this moment right now. End it, take it over right now. He does the freeze call, and he finally takes the shot, the free play on the freeze, Perfect ball to Jere
What a
Jenkins,
ball.
drops it in, touchdown. We get a stop again on defense. Talk about defense, getting multiple stops when you really need it. We go into half 28-21, getting the ball in the second half. Winning at the end of the second half and winning early in the third quarter, this team has done a hell of a job of doing that.
Well, there was a moment where you're sitting there and like looking at the clock and you're like, man, if we can get a score here, like we're in position to really kind of take this game over. And you're like, yeah, but we're LSU. Like
Right.
we're something's gonna happen here. And we did it. I mean, it's going to get lost in it, but I kind of think I don't know that Florida punting is the right thing, but I feel like we kind of let them have a free Hail Mary without calling timeout there. But I think with this LSU team, you probably just try to take it into half. But it was one of those things where it was just like, yeah, we probably won't do that. And then they went out and executed, like you said, like guys came up and made plays, and we got that nice little. Obviously, they scored 6 possessions in a row to start the game, but ending the half with a touchdown, getting a stop, whatever, run out the half and then open it up and say, hey, you guys might have made some adjustments, but it doesn't matter.
Right out of the gate, we come out starting the third quarter with another big run by Josh Williams. Josh really reminds
Insane
me.
run.
That was a great run, but his style and what he contributes to this team is slowly turning into almost like a Jacob Hester. Just he's not somebody that's going to be flashy. He's not going to make these crazy runs where he's shaking people.
Stats aren't going to be
Stats aren't
insane.
great, but there's something about if your O-line is going to provide a hole, he's gonna hit that hole and get the amount of yards that he's supposed to get out of this. Like you're gonna trust him to do his job. That's what he is turning into, and I think that's just excellent coaching by Frank.
Yeah, speaking of, Brian Kelly said Goodwin's like wanting to try to play this week.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that because I don't want to rush his return. I mean, obviously, these guys know if he's good to go, let's do it because you can run on Ole Miss. Ole Miss has a very weak defensive line. Everyone's been running all over them. If we have a solid running game against Ole Miss, we can control the clock and we can run at will, and that's only going to open up some good passes. But
a ton to talk about before Ole Miss, but like
good to see.
We're very in the confident circle, right?
About Ole Miss?
Yeah.
I hope you've seen some of my tweets, dude. I'm overly confident, and it's not overly confident.
Mike is why the line changed.
I know. I was just trying to set you up a little bit, man. Give you a little softball.
Hey, I'll die on it. I'll die on the hill. I
tease the people for a little bit later.
Listen, the same confidence I had that there was no doubt that we're going into the swamp to pull it off. It was just the stars were aligned. That's how I feel about this Ole Miss game.
There was a little doubt.
I get it. I mean, I get it.
But I saw what I needed to see. We saw, whatever, the players only meeting, guys stepped up and wanted to play better. They were embarrassed with the Tennessee game. And like Brian Kelly said, they went to work and they practiced the fundamentals. And like, what a good foundational building block win to show guys. Like, you saw what happened at Tennessee, and you saw if we do this, if you just buy in fully to what I'm selling you, like we're gonna get there. And I think
that's what I believe.
In that locker room has never been higher.
But it wasn't my belief that we're better than Florida and Napier's going to suck. It was my belief was that that Kelly was going to do his job to make these guys buy in, and they were going to buy in. That's what I believed. And if these kids buy in, I truly believe they can beat a lot of teams that on paper, based on what we've seen to this point, they should not be in the game with. But because they have gone through that adversity, because the adversity was so correctable, I feel like if they just buy into those corrections, those teachings, we're going to win games. We're going to beat Florida. And I think the Ole Miss, just how it lines up, Ole Miss coming off a very physical game against Auburn, a very easy schedule up until this point, a very lofty ranking, inflated heads, 230 at home, LSU now turning a corner for the better. The defense to stack up against their type of offense. Our offense finally hitting on all cylinders, especially now our running game being more organized. You can run all over Ole Miss. You've seen Tulsa do it. You've seen freaking Auburn obviously do it. I mean, it lines up for a big victory for LSU. We'll get to that in a little bit. LSU,
If this
go ahead.
LSU team shows up and plays like they did against Florida, you know, like I said after the Tennessee game, you're not as bad as everyone says after your loss, and after you win, you're probably not as good. Like, is LSU gonna beat every team outside of Bama left on the schedule? Probably not, but can they? Like, absolutely.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, if you're looking at the rest of the season, I think you can beat Ole Miss. I think you lose to Bama. I think it's a fun game against Bama. I think it's a hyped atmosphere, 7 p.m. It's one of those wild, fun
That's what I
nights.
want. I want Brian Kelly to get his first taste of a real because if LSU handles Ole Miss and you have Alabama rolling into town with a loss, which that's probably been a while, I guess maybe a Texas A&M year here and there
Mhm.
where Alabama has played LSU with a loss already, but
Last year, I think. Yep.
it will be one of those LSU Bama environments, like, at night, because we will have talked ourselves into, like, well, this isn't the same Bama. Eli Ricks is gonna go to midfield and rip his jersey off and come to the dark side, NWO style.
No,
If we
Bama's still very good. They're a top 5 team, you know.
if we win, I mean, did you see the
I'm
amount
just
of
talking about the
hate?
atmosphere. I just want that
Yeah, but
atmosphere.
the
Yeah, yeah.
amount of hate and celebration for even LSU fans on Saturday for them losing the way they did to Tennessee.
There's
Imagine
no
if we
yeah.
beat Ole Miss, that tailgate day, like that day is gonna be
That's what I'm
one, it's
saying.
gonna be one of the ones that we've had in
Just don't
2019. I mean, it's just
overdo
gonna
it,
be
man.
I
Just
want
pace
I just
yourself. Get
I
out there
want
and
Brian
yell.
Kelly I want Brian Kelly to get a taste of that because in 2 years, we're gonna be possibly trying to get ourselves into a playoff with Alabama rolling into town.
I think Saturday is going to be an insane atmosphere,
it
even
will.
for a
It
2:30
should.
Oh,
game.
I agree. I
I think
agree. You
it's
got
gonna be big. But no,
Barstool there, which maybe doesn't
Yeah.
matter a ton, but Barstool's there. The Ole Miss game will be fun,
Should
but
hype
yeah, I
yeah,
that
and I
mean,
stadium
think
up.
if you
Bama's
can
different.
compound that with yeah, absolutely. You compound that with a big victory, a week off to prepare for Bama, which we're kind of we haven't gotten to Bama week, but like this is the first time you've got like a legit coach that's going to take advantage of a bye week. So you never know what can happen there.
Possibly the first time, yeah, it's not a disadvantage for LSU to be off the week before Bama.
Right. So you could have an interesting game. I'm not saying we're winning that game, but you could have a fun battle and a hell of an
Just give
atmosphere.
me a dogfight, man.
Yeah.
I just want Tiger Stadium to, like, actually be alive again for the first time in a couple years.
Now, after that week, the next hurdle is going to be can you keep the guys reined in and focused to go on the road at Arkansas, who is a decent opponent. By no means are they the best team that we are the best 3 teams that we have played all season, but they can nip you. They can get you if you're not focused. I think we get them. I think obviously you beat the little children of the poor, and then you have a battle with Texas A&M. And honestly, the A&M game on the road, that's a tough battle. It's a tough place to play. But if those guys have nothing to play for, and Brian Kelly is still coaching our kids to play for pride and in just laying a foundation for the future, I think LSU has a good chance of knocking off an upset and going 8-4.
Yeah, Arkansas reminds me of, like, those Arkansas teams when we were kids where
That'd
it's
be
like,
Nine and
we
that'd be
three.
9-3.
we
Wow.
should have beat, like, those Arkansas games where you're like, "Yeah, we're definitely more talented, we should beat them," but if you, like, start sluggish and they start running on you, it's like it gets to be a long day quick. Like, I think LSU should handle Arkansas, but there's a chance that it just yeah, like you
Yeah,
said,
yeah. You never know.
Bama takes a toll on you for sure.
Definitely. So back to the second half of the Florida game. We come out strong, third quarter. We march it down the field. Jaden Daniels using his legs. So he's throwing the ball very well. Brian Thomas making some disgusting catches. Booty involved. You know, Booty's stats, they
Mhm.
don't like they're not crazy, but he's so clutch right now. He's able to snag it in on third. A lot of quick bailouts from neighbors. We're trusting everybody. Man, like that shovel pass earlier in the game, or I think it might have been in the second half. That shovel pass over to Mason Taylor,
Taylor.
improvising, and the guys are coming up with difficult catches, but building again Jaden's confidence. And you're able to see the offense finally get put together. It is nice to see Brian Kelly involved with a play sheet. Like, when's the last time you saw one of our head coaches get involved? Now, he's not calling plays,
Yeah,
but
he went back on that today and said that he's like, Denbrock's called every plays, every
Right,
play.
but he's got a play sheet and he can
Yeah.
overrule it. He's monitoring. He's not just blindly trusting every play, and he is heavily involved in the red zone and on fourth down. So
Yeah.
it's
But I
good to
like
have
that.
that
I
head
like
coach
that he's
involved.
proactive too, saying like, "Hey, we can go for this," or like, "We're gonna go for this if you can get this here." And I don't know. I'm sure Denbrock had fun calling plays on Saturday night. So if the thing is, man, it's like I don't know that this was too entirely different from what we've seen from LSU this year. The difference is that they made plays and guys came up with those third downs that didn't stall drives where we had to punt. Like they just came up with the plays to extend drives, and then that leads to
And
points.
we didn't drop the ball. Like, we
Yeah,
caught
that's what I'm
passes.
saying. Like they went out and did their job, and that allowed us to move the ball down the field. I just don't know that it was entirely different than what we've seen outside of like drops and maybe Daniels getting out of the pocket too soon and stuff like that. Like it was just one of those where the game plan played out exactly how you drew it up in walkthroughs.
The kids received their coaching all week. They fixed their problems and they executed the game plan flawlessly with confidence in an offensive line, confidence in a quarterback, and sure-handedness from the wide receivers. So that was awesome to see. And the running backs did their job. If the running backs do their job behind that offensive line, we're going to move the chains. And then it just frees Jaden Daniels up, man. When you actually have a running threat at running back that you have to respect, it's dangerous with Jaden Daniels with those legs in the backfield. So
Well,
anyway, we
about
march it
about
down.
40 hours ago, I was certain that Walker Howard was going to be the starting quarterback next year. Now,
Who knows,
I don't
man?
know.
Jaden might
I
go
don't know.
pro. Who knows? No. So anyway, we move down the field. We get bailed out by a roughing the passer penalty. What a dumbass to just lay his fat
Well,
ass on the quarterback, especially a
I mean,
season like this year.
Anthony Richardson first off opens up the fourth quarter with just the run
Oh,
of the
yeah.
run, and you're just like, uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Which we
Is this
all and Brian Kelly talked about it. Like we got to tackle this guy. We can't be jabbing at the ball. We can't be doing anything stupid like that. We tried to push the dude down. Like that's never going to happen. Wrap his legs up, get it done. I don't care that Jay Ward got not the dumb penalty was stupid on the sideline, but going low on him, you got to go low on a guy like that. Like if you go high, you're out.
Yeah.
If you go
I
that
low,
should
thought
be a 30-yard penalty.
God,
I
Greg was
thought
so
what's
stupid.
McElroy kind of blew that out of proportion.
He did, and he caught
Oh my
himself
God.
too. He's like,
Yeah.
"What? I'm not trying to." And
It should be a 30-yard penalty.
Yeah, he kind of realized how heated he was. He was like, "I mean, chill out."
I mean, it was low.
But-
Like, yeah, but
yeah, he could have got hurt.
It
Like,
also
that's the
wasn't.
thing. He
Yeah.
could have got hurt, but also like, what's Jay Ward supposed to do? Like, Jay Ward's
Yeah.
not tackling that dude around the waist.
But immediately, I'm just like, oh my God, this is just going to be the Tom Petty game that we're going to have to hear about forever. We've played this like flawless game to this point, and we're just somehow going to like piss this game away. Punt to Florida. Florida just marches down the field with ease and scores a touchdown. And then, yeah, we get to there, like the roughing the passer, which obvious roughing the passer, but like, thank you.
Bails us out, and then once again, shoot ourselves in the foot. We back ourselves up on a false start, 2 false starts back to back. Brian Kelly's flipping out. I believe it was Nick Stores, and again,
But a great drive to like chew
absolutely.
clock and really in that game. There was a lot of time left. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
when
We
Florida cut
converted
it to
4th and 1
7,
before all that too, before the penalty.
yeah, I mean, when
Big 4th
Florida
and 1.
cut it to 7, it was like, well, there's like 7 minutes left on the clock. Like, it's not like they're running out of time here.
Yeah, going back to recruiting and depth that we were talking about, like having Nick Stores on the field, having God, who's the other guy? The St. Paul's kid. Mashburn. Look, hell of a player, great athlete. One of those walk-ons that you're like, man, I'm happy this guy's on the team. 12th man if he was playing for the Aggies, right? But you need depth in these fourth quarters where you can trust a stud scholarship player to go in there on that line. You know, those backup tight ends that we're loading up on. Like that's the kind of depth we're talking about. Depth where on
we need like a
special
Chase
teams,
Claymore.
we just need those big bodies that, hey, maybe you're not a starter, but like when we're late in the game, we need everybody on the same page. We need our athletes out there. That's depth. That's building a roster. And I think we're not there yet. That's what Brian Kelly's missing, is just that quality roster building depth that I think we're going to start seeing the fruits of that next season. But we're laying that foundation of discipline and execution and game planning and just a professional structure. And you're seeing it right now where the kids are like, oh, maybe like all this work and like saying yes, sir, to this dumbest shit that we've never had to do before actually means something, and it's paying off. So that's really nice to see. But yeah, going forward, we hit Ramos nails a field goal here. And you asked it, Brett, confidence meter going into it. What was the confidence? Not good, my friend. Not good. I wasn't shaking. I wasn't shaking, but I was thinking to myself, like, you know, there's a chance that he misses this, and we're dead center. Like, it wasn't like it was a tough
chance. Mike.
Yeah, there was a chance. No, I was more
LSU
confident.
hasn't proven, like, I mean, it was funny.
Like, fix how we blocked, if we didn't fix our protection for field goal by this point, I mean, we might as well just frame Brian.
A few of the extra points looked rough during that.
The miracle for us to be on time, to snap it, to get a hold down, to protect, and then for this dude who's done nothing but kick extra points all day in this raucous environment to go out there and just nail one. I did not think it was happening.
Good for Ramos, not having a lot of practice in this type of setting, probably since Florida State, and he comes in and hits a dinger.
Yeah, no,
I guess dinger's not the right word to say for field goals. You don't want it to ding, but
he almost put it into good hands. There was a good hands of All-State type of kick.
And then you finally get what up?
I was just say the Bama Tennessee game had some. Oh
my God! I thought for sure you were going to say something about baseball.
I wanted to.
Harold Perkins coming in clutch, and it gets called back, but
bullshit.
Nonetheless, unbelievable play. The closing speed that Harold Perkins has is it's like a fourth-year linebacker in the SEC, and he's in his like 6th, 7th game. Pretty incredible just to watch his development take place. Should never be on the sideline ever. Yeah. Just like we talked about Besh last year, how every time he caught the ball, it was every time he was targeted, it was a big first down. It was an aggressive play. It was sure-handedness. This true freshman is the same thing, just on defense. Why is he ever on the sideline? I understand he's playing a certain position, but you find ways to get that talent on the field, regardless of position, because he will heat, seek, missile, take out that quarterback. And it's great. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's weird to see a freshman out there being the guy that looks different athletically. Like, he just looks like you dropped an NFL player onto a team, like the ground he can cover, the area. Like, he's just sitting there spying Richardson, and all of a sudden he's like teleports into his back pocket.
Yeah, and then he has his hand up the whole time to swat the ball. Like,
it feels like he's got the ball skills and stuff.
Yeah, the body control to close that fast and know that if I miss this ball, I'm still having to make a big tackle, but have the length to stop that forward pass as you're crashing in. Like, it's unbelievable. But Baskerville's playing lights out too. Our linebackers are playing really good football right now. That's what's really exciting to see, is that all of these linebackers are in the right position. You just have some dogs like Harold Perkins and Micah Baskerville stepping up and letting their athleticism play free now, and you're seeing some great plays, great sure tackling, other than the 81-yard touchdown run where Baskerville decided to try to strip it.
You probably watched the game more than me, but a name or a number that I was surprised that felt like popped up a bunch was Savion Jones.
Savion's playing a lot. He took a couple bad angles.
35.
He took a couple bad angles, but he's definitely one of those guys that has turned a corner in his development where you can trust him in bigger moments.
Was he? Who was he in for? Was he in for Gay or?
I think he rotates in for BJ.
Because I know I had that in my notes too, that he.
I don't think BJ and him are ever on the field at the same time.
You just wanted everyone to know you had notes.
I have that in my notes.
BJ is insane too. Like, if you look back, when you look back at,
they just run away from him. They go away from him.
Yeah, BJ is just lights out. Like he's going to be a first round draft pick, no doubt. Like that dude's pretty scary right now. But yeah, great victory on the road. I mean,
Yeah,
we
fun
pulled it
team,
out, man.
man. Like I think it's been trying at times, frustrating at times, but I feel like this is as good as we could ask for in a year one, like complete full rebuild from what we've had. Like this team's bought in. They seem to be like they have great chemistry and everything, and they're fun.
Yeah, you know their weaknesses at this point, and you know you're starting to develop those strengths. You're starting to see an identity form. Yeah, it's a really cool team to pull for, especially knowing that this is the foundation and that this is like as low as it's going to be, and it's only up from here. It's really exciting to know that it only gets better from this point out. Does that mean we're going to win every game? No. Does that mean we're going to have dumb penalties and stupid mistakes? Absolutely. But you look back at these games and be like, we're capable of that. That's what we're capable of. A start to finish great football game on the road where you're not really supposed to win and you're able to pull it out. Year one, that's a really good game. That's a turning point. That is a massive turning point. And I think you have an opportunity this week to truly shock a lot of people. A lot of people.
Well, yeah, Vegas, not surprised, I guess you would say. Few people watching live, do all that stupid stuff, hit the like and subscribe. Got any questions, put them in the chat. I think are we gonna talk a little LSU, Tennessee, a little weekend of college football? Caleb Williams, or you want to go Ole Miss first?
I think we need to talk Ole Miss, and then we can circle back and do our recap of the weekend, and then look to the other games next weekend as well. I just think now that we're on the theme of
I
players,
agree.
and
It's fine.
let's just kind of roll that in, because I mean we don't need to talk too long about Ole Miss. I mean, in my opinion,
We're gonna say similar things just for the next game.
yeah, I mean, if you want to give your opinion about what you think we see coming up against Ole Miss, I can counter you, or however you want to do it. If you want me to go
Yeah.
on my spiel right now about how I think we're gonna win by a large margin, and it's going to be the biggest statement game of year one for Brian Kelly, I can take it away too.
Then I'll go first.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna
No, I'm confident. I'm very confident going into this Ole Miss game, but also I know that this is a game that Ole Miss can come in here and win. Like Lane Kiffin it's like Lane Kiffin, it feels like America will never like fully change their opinion on. Like, was it great when he was younger and at USC and getting left on the tarmac? Like, no. But Lane Kiffin's done a really good job of, what obviously play caller at Bama. Maybe that's a little bit of an easier job, but taking over a small program in Florida, building it up, getting to Ole Miss, doing really well pretty much immediately. This is as good as Ole Miss has probably ever been. This is a team that, that can come in here and beat you. I'm very confident. I think the team has obviously the statement win against Florida buys in, and hopefully they can keep that momentum going. And I like them. I think it's going to be a game where whatever team maybe gets out to a nice lead, like, oh, this will be fine, and the other team will just be able to score. LSU needs to be able to run the ball, and I think if the offensive line plays like it did against Florida, we're gonna be in the mix in the fourth.
Did you see that our skinny slut Austin Thomas is strolling the sideline of Ole Miss nowadays?
Chris Clemmer.
Come again?
I saw.
I was just like,
this
dude, like, what SEC team has he not been on? Like Austin Thomas, just
I don't know. There was a time that I wanted to like cry that he was leaving our program, and then he's just been literally like nothing ever since. Very
brilliant general manager. No,
he plays Madden with the kids. They love him.
Yeah, dude. We got I don't know who we got. We got the Tennessee linebacker. This is what I think about Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss is a well-coached team. I do respect Lane Kiffin's offensive abilities. I think everyone understands that he's a great play caller and he's a good developer of an offense. If you objectively look at this team, though, and watch their games, if you look at the AP poll 1 through 6, I believe we've got in no particular order. It might be this order. it's debatable. But Ohio State, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, Michigan, Clemson. Who am I missing?
Dude, that was 6.
That was
Bama.
6.
Or did you say Bama? Maybe.
Yeah, I said Bama. After that is a drop off, and I think that drop off does start with Ole Miss.
We're not that far from Kentucky being ranked number 8. Like, we're only a couple weeks away, like,
we're
removed
a couple
from.
points away. I mean, like it was 22-19 that Ole Miss beat Kentucky. If you watch that game start to finish, it's a sloppy game. Kentucky is not that good. After actually paying attention and looking at Kentucky, the play calling is atrocious. Will Levis is a dog at quarterback, and they're just flushing his career down the drain. He's still going to get drafted pretty high.
TCU is the only other team, but they're not like the.
No, but I mean, you pair up TCU against any of the other top 4 or 5, like they're going to get killed. I think they can play. They can play, but I think my point is Ole Miss is not like we see number 7 and we see top 10. We've seen better. Right?
There's a hard drop off from tier 1 to tier 2.
Right.
I'm
like
on your page.
They're very beatable. Okay. But they have improved every week. Like that's what I noticed with them. You go back early on and watch them against Troy and Tulsa. It's tough to watch. Like I tried to look at it through the lens of an Ole Miss fan, and it was frustrating. It's like, why are we letting this shitty team play with us? They play down to their opponent and they play up to their opponent. That's an undisciplined team. That's what the characteristic is. I think they're undisciplined at times. They don't play to the whistle. They're kind of lazy. They get away with a couple really good players that run the football. One of them being the quarterback. Jackson Dart is a very good runner. His passing is a little suspect. He floats the ball up. He takes chances that he shouldn't. I don't think that matches up well for this defense. For them against our defense. I think we're very opportunistic, and we also have a good defensive coordinator that can game plan very well.
I think Dart plays a little bit of NCAA 2014, whereas like he's decided where he's ripping that ball before he snapped it.
Yeah, and he likes to run it more. And he's a bigger guy. He's like 200 pounds. He likes to lower his shoulder, but he's not Hendon Hooker. He's not Sheldon Richardson, Anthony,
Shelley.
and other people call him Anthony. We've gone against those guys. All right.
The guy from Florida State was a pretty good quarterback.
Right. But what I'm saying is like Dart really relying on, like, they're a very heavy running team. That's what they want to do. They want to run with Dart and their true freshman stud running back, Judkins. Judkins is a dog. He's better than
Quinshawn.
I don't know his first name.
Quinshawn Judkins
is good enough for me. But
what about Ulysses Bentley?
No, but they have the transfer. They have the Evans. Bryce Evans. Zach Evans.
Evans.
Zach Evans is not their best runner. And I think that says a lot about the freshman Judkins. He's a very good runner that you're going to see playing for them for a long time and playing on Sundays. The kid is good.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at their numbers, obviously, when you play some competition, they get inflated. But 6 yards a carry, 6 yards a carry, 7 yards a carry, like that. Pretty good at running the ball. Very
misdirection. They're gimmicky. Right. They do a lot of stuff that I feel like a good defensive coordinator can kind of snuff out. That's what I notice here, because you saw it happen against Kentucky. You saw it happen against Tulsa. You saw it happen against Auburn. Whenever they kind of sniff out that misdirection, they can shut down your run. And then that's whenever Dart has to start going to the air. And if he starts to go to the air, they have some playmakers, but it's not anything that we haven't seen. There is no star receivers on this team that like we can't guard. What I'm saying is shut down this run. Make Dart beat you in the air, because we'll win this football game. Because their defense's bread and butter is blitzes. They bring pressure because they don't have the dudes. They want to just try to get to the quarterback and call it a day. Their defensive line, you can run all over them. There's holes left and right. Just watching these games at their defensive ends, just imagining Will Campbell and Emory Jones, instead of the Tulsa tackles, instead of the Kentucky tackles. Like, we're moving the football pretty well against this team. 2:30 game, coming off a back and forth, very physical game against Auburn. Ole Miss, I think their biggest test on the road to this point has been Vanderbilt. Like, they really have been set up to get a nice, pretty number 7 top 10 ranking. They haven't been tested by anyone other than Kentucky. LSU, on the flip side, is coming off a monumental program win for Brian Kelly on the road at Florida. The confidence is an all-time high. You're coming back home. You get a couple hours post 11 o'clock kickoff. You finally get that 2:30, a little longer in the afternoon. I think LSU is going to be very prepared to win this game, to play this game, and they win this game. I honestly, I feel like if you have this team, if you have this offense that you had against Florida, and Matt House plays a spy with Harold Perkins, and we are able to stop this run, because you stop Dart in the misdirection, you'll be able to condense and stop this offense. I think it's a 10+ point victory for LSU.
Well, and run the ball and pick up first downs, and don't let Ole Miss control time of possession.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. They can move the ball. Like, this offense can eat up some grass, man. They find if you give them space, they will hit it and they will eat that up. I just trust Matt House here. I feel like it's one of those teams where what they are is on film. Like, they have up to this point to win 7 games, to be 7-0. Like, Lane Kiffin has thrown a lot of shit out there, and they've had to overcome a lot of shit against some low quality teams. They put a lot out there on tape. I think Matt House is going to see everything he needs to. This is not Matt Corral. This is not Hendon Hooker. This is not Anthony Richardson. Dart is not that great. Their running backs, studs. They have good running backs, and Dart can run the ball effectively if you let him. Other than that, I feel like we should win this football game. And Charlie Weiss Jr. is their offensive coordinator, if it makes anyone feel any better.
Yeah, I mean, tackle,
make tackles. It's sure tacklers. That's why you got to have Harold Perkins on the field.
You know, if LSU tackles and doesn't let them get 1,000,000 yards after the run, yeah, I'm very confident in LSU being able to get a victory.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
45,
sure
38. How many points LSU scoring?
I think we're in the 40s. I think it's a 41-28 game.
That's the over, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a chance that we can make a statement and hold them to 24 points. I think that would just be incredible.
I'm just more convinced myself that it's going to happen for the narrative going into Bama. And I don't think the narrative is going to be that LSU is can beat it or sneaky pull off the upset. I don't know, but I just know that if LSU can go in, even though it's 6-2, it's weird. It's started. The buzz has already started, and I know at some point we'll maybe laugh at this, but LSU's in that control their own destiny seat in the West. As weird as that feels,
I think it's a big opportunity here this weekend, and it's just lining up that way. It's just lining up that way where I've seen this before. I've also seen this catapult the other direction as well, where we're riding high after a really big victory. And
we come out and lay an egg.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've seen us lay eggs almost every game this year. So it's a big trust that Ole Miss is a bit overrated coming in, and that Brian Kelly is going to totally take advantage of them being overrated and really coach these guys up this week and not take a week off. Just continue to progress. I think we have seen Brian Kelly identify the issues on this team and continue to progress. And I think we finally get our complete game where offense and defense, and guess what? The Yellow Hats special teams actually comes together, and you have the first big dominant victory of the Brian Kelly era, and it's against Ole Miss this week. That I'm throwing it out there. I'll die on it, and I'll eat my crow if we don't.
No, I'm all with you, except there will be special teams mistakes. Like that's just a given.
Yeah, I agree. But I think offense and defense then will pull it out. So We'll see. We'll see. Y'all want to talk a little bit about last weekend or this past weekend?
Yeah.
Tennessee, Alabama. What a victory. What a
It-
game. And I don't want to hear about the refs. The audacity for some of these Alabama fans to actually, in unison, point the finger at the referees for the
I
reason
can't
that they lost.
I can't explain my joy just scrolling Twitter seeing like the refs, we got jobbed by the refs. It's like guys, you can't make that excuse. You've had every call for a decade and a half.
If they don't have the bias from the refs, they lose to Texas. Bryce
Yeah.
Young's beautiful little run to steal the game. The defensive end was getting held harder than the hardest hold I've ever seen. The hardest hold I've ever seen.
A&M too.
It was fun. It was fun to watch Tennessee go out and take it, and that's kind of what I was trying to explain when we talked about the LSU game. It's like we didn't have to see Tennessee like come into LSU and like actually take it like they had to go into Bama, and they went in and just went like blow for blow with them. And then there was that moment where it was 49-49 or whatever, Bama getting the ball back, and you're just like, God, do I feel bad for Tennessee fans right now?
Yeah.
Tennessee fumbled it in the fumble return, and it was like that's when it was like, okay, I've read this book. I send that every week to you guys. I've seen this movie, and it ended differently.
Just like I know it's just I like watching Alabama miss kicks, and it was fun to watch everybody just storm the field and it just be total mayhem.
It was beautiful. It was a beautiful.
Good for college
scene.
football.
It's great for college football. Watching Bama go down is great for college football,
Especially that way.
Yeah. I do. What's crazy though, this is setting up for a very controversial playoff situation. Very controversial. I don't think Tennessee beats Georgia. I think Georgia steps up, beats them middle of the
Everyone
season.
has one loss.
Everyone's got one loss. Bama beats Georgia in the SEC championship. And then you got
luckily we have 16 of the finest athletic directors in the world to decide who gets that spot, Mike.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, Pac-12's out.
Yeah, luckily the other conferences have already pushed themselves.
No, but they're riding high on Clemson now. Like we're starting to hear the Clemson hype is very solid within the media, which they're playing good football. Don't get me wrong. Clemson's playing good ball, but
that's still just Clemson. Only one team from the Big Ten.
No, you got two from the Big Ten that are going to be. I think Michigan and Ohio State are going to bounce each other. Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah,
but you're still going to have one loss, so you'll have an undefeated Big Ten. You'll have the runner-up of the Big Ten who's got one loss, so they'll be the first loser that's not going to make it in. But then you got an undefeated Clemson, you got a one-loss Tennessee, one-loss Bama, one-loss Georgia. I mean,
a potential undefeated TCU.
Well, if TCU's undefeated, I think they get a better look than a second team from another two teams from one
not the SEC, but another conference, sure.
I mean, Tennessee's just looks so dominant. If they lose in like a fucking burner against Georgia, I mean,
here's the thing: they're going to have to possibly play Bama again too.
Well, if they lose to Georgia, they don't.
Or I guess that's true. If they lose to Georgia,
they would in the playoffs. But that'd be a.
So what if they beat Georgia?
Playoff game.
If they beat Georgia, they're on the other side too.
I think if they beat Georgia,
there's going to be a team in the East with one loss that's not going to go to the conference championship game.
Right.
And I think where do we rank them?
Exactly. And I think the win over Bama would give Tennessee the edge, where I feel like Georgia does not have that edge.
I wonder where is the Georgia Tennessee game this year?
It is.
Although if Tennessee beats Bama, then Bama will be out with two losses. Like I'm talking about in the SEC championship. What?
I'll just say UCLA is actually still undefeated too, but
UCLA is playing pretty well. I forgot about that.
That's a really long
lose
shot.
to USC.
Yeah, true.
Utah going for 2. That was a really fun little nightcap.
That was wild, dude. That quarterback.
First you get First, you get to wind down from the LSU game and watch Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman take another little fat L on the face, and then switch over to watch a really fun Utah USC ending.
If that was any other coach, like if I don't know, dude, I just feel like Marcus Freeman has gotten no heat this season at all. Like with the amount of hype he got and the amount of like LSU fans got screwed trying to, stealing Brian Kelly for us like that. It's just incredible to see how Marcus Freeman is in over his head. I think he's a great defensive coordinator, but the fact that we're not calling a spade, that this might not be the best look for Notre Dame. I mean, he inherited a playoff team.
Fiesta Bowl team. Get that.
He inherited
Fiesta Bowl team.
And it's not like Brian Kelly took any real guys with him.
Well, Bramblett.
Right.
Yeah, we got the punter. No, but I mean, it's interesting to see how, and I guess it's more of
it's
me
just
being
one of those
frustrated
things.
of how pissed off the media is at Brian Kelly and unfair the trash talk of Brian Kelly is opposed compared to what Notre Dame just got with Marcus Freeman and all the hype going into the season and literally laying multiple eggs back to back to back. I mean, starting with him taking over as the interim in the bowl game. It's like the dude just does, I don't know, like maybe it's just a tough season for him, but like, please don't tell me he's the best coach y'all have ever hired in program history. And it's all going to be turned around pretty quickly when Brian Kelly got you basically to the door of the playoffs with an undefeated season just last year.
Well, they lost to Cincinnati, but yes.
Basically
undefeated, undefeated in regulation, Michael. I don't think that's true, but I do like saying that whenever I can. No, you're right. It's one of those things where it kind of reminds you, and maybe this isn't what happened, and maybe they were going to hire him anyway, but you just can't let your players choose your next coach. Like, I still remember the locker room videos where it was like, we promoted Marcus Freeman and the place goes nuts. And you're like, oh, inject this into my veins. Fuck Brian Kelly. It's like, well, how are we doing now, boys? How are we doing now?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Marcus Freeman's one of those guys that I think eventually he will be a really good head coach. I think cutting your teeth at Notre Dame after Brian Kelly leaves, that's a tough
better to
pull,
do
man.
at Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think that's a tough pull.
I have a guy at work that's like the Notre Dame fan and all that stuff. And he was like, oh, no, I was happy to get rid of Brian Kelly. You'll see. Like, you'll see. And I'm like, no, you'll fucking see. Like,
Yeah,
you'll
dude.
fucking see that, like, y'all don't understand how good you had it. Like, you went from the abyss of the abyss and everyone making fun of Charlie Weiss and company to, like, being a legit threat in college football landscape for a decade. Like, you'll see.
Yeah, I mean that's why looking at, I hate to go back to LSU when we're talking about these weekend games, but just the foundation that's being laid right now, man. Like the future is very bright. The future is very bright, and we're going to continue to see that, and people are going to continue to buy in the more and more we win and we pull off these victories. It's like, oh shit, we've got Walker Howard waiting in the wings, and they are playing that hand perfectly by grooming him, keeping him involved.
More 5-stars in the wing too. Receivers
in the wings too. Yeah, absolutely. Shelton Sampson, Jalen Brown out of Miami. I mean, Kai Prian out of St. James. I mean, we've got a lot of dudes that are going to be rolling in here to make some plays, and that's just the guys that we have committed right now. Like, I feel like we're going to get to a point where we're going to turn up some heat in the offseason. Justin Saying, I'm just saying, Jay Saying. Well, he's a big-time quarterback out of California. That's his name. He's looking at us as well for the next class. I think he should be. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I would guess these next two home games would be some pretty big recruiting weekends for LSU too. So,
unfortunately, the Tennessee game, I think we had a lot of studs come in, and that sucks. But I also think Brian Kelly's the type of guy that puts things in perspective to recruits. It's not just like, here's your free ticket, enjoy the show. So,
but also it's like, you see what this could be. You could be the difference maker that makes this go the other way.
Well, quarterbacks are more receptive to that than any other position because it's a solo gig. It's like, yeah, I could I could see
Yeah.
myself completing that pass. Like Booty is open. Like, you know, like I could see the foundation growing here and I want to be part of the future here. You see it with quarterbacks all the time. Like, how the hell did they get that kid? It's like, well, they sold that he's going to
Yeah.
be the face of this program. And if he is in this offense, this is how it will run. So I think we're going to be surprised with the amount of recruits we get, even with a 7-5, 8-4 season. So a lot to be looking forward to. But let's go back to these games. Are we finished with last Saturday, move to next Saturday?
There was one team. I mean, it's probably not going to go that way, but I thought Clemson's season was over in terms of they have no one left, but they are playing an undefeated Syracuse this weekend.
Look out, boys.
Have they played North Carolina yet?
Yes. I think they
did. North Carolina's kind of fun to watch. Drake May at quarterback, he's pretty good.
Are you saying North Carolina or North Carolina State? UNC.
Yeah.
They beat Duke. I don't have that up here.
Yeah, they beat Duke.
They did. TCU game was fun. Unfortunately, I did watch as much.
Yeah.
I was surprised Kentucky kind of handled Mississippi State. Texas
really should have gone with
ropes.
my money line picks instead of spreads, but
the TCU game was pretty fun to watch.
Texas almost lost to Iowa State. That was a very close game. It was just a super fun day. And I mean, I know we talked about it, but just seeing a Tennessee team being able to like celebrate after like all those years, it was just like, this is why you're miserable all the time.
The team that, like we talked about, Ole Miss kind of being like they're 7 just because, like they're just there. Penn State was 10 just because. That was a bad, like they shouldn't have been even in that game. At halftime, that was ridiculous what happened. But
as Michigan as I am, and I like having some parity in college football, and I don't like Ohio State just automatically getting an auto bid. That's why I like Michigan. They still like 41 points. It's not like a convincing number 5 for me. I feel like they're the first weak link in that top 5. Like I would put Clemson ahead of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
I just
they're
don't
good.
know.
They're good.
I just don't know that we've like actually seen, and I get that they played a top 10 team this week, like you said, Penn State, whatever. But I just don't know that we've like seen Michigan challenge to just be like, yeah, definitely.
Well, they haven't had to like nut up and have some ice in their veins and win a game. And you've seen it from a couple of these schools now, but like Michigan hasn't had to do it. Ohio State really hasn't had to do it. You know, Ohio State's getting a lot of number 1 unanimous votes for not really that great of a resume yet. They just look complete, but I'm sure we'll figure that out as the season progresses.
There's actually some good games this weekend.
Yeah, I'm just happy.
Pull it up.
LSU games early. Get to watch before the wedding. I'll be in Colorado.
Oh, nice. That's right, Colorado.
So Mountain Time. Get that even earlier game.
UCLA Oregon's going to be a very fun game to watch because I think, oh damn, the over under is at 70.5.
70. Yeah. I love seeing it. It's great.
Yeah, Ole Miss and LSU should be a great one. LSU favored -1.5. I hate that they flipped that now. That is just, in my opinion, the lock of the year. If they had that reversed,
I think it opened at like 3 last week.
It was Ole Miss -3. That would have been a good one.
And then it was like 2 yesterday. And then I woke up this morning, it was a pick. And then I was texting you, and then literally 30 minutes I check it, and it's at almost, some books had 2.
Money's moving. Oklahoma State, Texas, that'll be a good game to watch. I don't really care about the outcome of that game, but I bet that'll be a little bit of a battle. How about Tulane?
If you got a pair of nuts on you as a gambler, you got to take UT Martin playing at Tennessee this week.
I mean, at 11 o'clock kick, they don't have goalposts. They had to ask their fans for money. You know,
what is the spread there? You think?
I don't know.
I don't care. It's not going to be released probably till kickoff.
All I got to know, all I know is Alabama -21. That should be like -40. Bama's going to destroy Mississippi State. It's going to be bad.
Yeah,
and
if it's not one of those 49-0 type games where it's just like, oh, okay.
If Mississippi State hangs in there with Alabama and makes that a game, it's just totally going to warp my brain into thinking that we have a legit shot at beating them.
I was just about to say, man, like I I'm gonna talk myself into it. I'm not saying I believe this, but I've talked myself into saying like this isn't the same Bama team because it's not. It's not the process where you're a 5-star and you gray shirt and you don't even get to like fucking come on campus for a year. Like this is more of a we're building a mega conference super team with all these transfers and shit. And like I don't
They
know,
have no
maybe
receivers. I don't
maybe that
understand.
makeup is just not the recipe for the Saban way. And I just like I that's what I just tell myself every day that they're just
Jahmyr
gonna
Gibbs
somehow
is
end
their
up
best
losing.
receiver. I don't know, but Bryce Young is still Bryce Young. Like
Bryce Young's really good.
he just figures out a way to complete passes and just make everybody look like they're running crazy, and he's just in slow motion, just kind of dancing around doing his
I
thing.
love how like calm he is when he's just like moving around outside the pocket because he's just like not ever thinking about running. He's like, I'm gonna find an open guy, no worries.
Yeah, he's very, very good. Bryce Young is very, very good. I mean, look how hard it was for them to beat him. TCU, K-State will be fun because Max Dugan and Quentin Johnson. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think
that's a
TCU is
fun
a
game
great
that I
team.
just won't see, and then someone will have to tell me what happened.
Fun fact: the only team to beat Kansas State is Tulane.
Dude, how did you not throw this one up there? This is this is a good call here. Fuente starting Braxton Burmeister over Hendon Hooker is truly astonishing coaching. Very true. And we talk about Fuente at one point was one of the hottest names on the coaching carousel.
I mean, kind of the same with Matt Campbell. It's one of those things where it's like sometimes you just have to leave when you're the hottest name and go catch that bag because you hang around at Iowa State for too long or Virginia Tech for too long or wherever it may be. And then people realize that, well, you just probably got a good quarterback and got hot.
Who's your Heisman right now?
Hooker.
Yeah, me too. I think it was between Hooker and Young. I think those two are really on display.
Young missing a game, and I think the numbers that Hooker is going to put up. And once again, I think to like win a Heisman after they already gave you a Heisman, you have to like be unfairly like way better than you were. And I just don't know that we've necessarily seen that. But I mean, as far as I would tell, I would think it's like Hooker in a runaway right now.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the only competition, like talent-wise, I think Bryce Young.
Stetson Bennett. Oh, okay. No, okay.
I mean, Stetson Bennett is still going to be talked about because Georgia's going to start. I mean, if Georgia beats Tennessee and Stetson has a hell of a game, Stetson's name's going to jump to the top. Not the top, but in the conversation. But no, Hendon Hooker, definitely. With this story, with this program right now, and the run that they're on, I think he's definitely deserving of it. A quiet leader who just kind of does it all.
What if I told you Hooker's not the highest odds getter?
Is it Stroud?
Stroud is plus 100.
Yeah, I guess. Honestly, I haven't been really paying attention to Ohio State. Mike, I think we're losing Mike here. He's frozen on my screen.
Oh, look, his connectivity is really low.
All right. Well, welcome to the podcast with Grant the Intern. I'm Brett. Hit us up on Twitter. No, Mike will hop back in here in a second, I'm sure.
Yeah, Stroud. I forgot he existed.
Yeah, it's just like Ohio State's been an afterthought to me for the last 7 weeks or whatever it is. So
yeah,
I just don't really think about him being a human. I think Michael is back in action. So have no fear. We can't hear you.
Was I the only one?
There you go. No, you're good.
Wait.
Was I the only one that died there?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good.
Your connection bars went down.
Okay, so the stream lived on.
Yeah, we're good.
As far as I know,
down. Grant was telling me about the starting pitching rotation.
Yeah.
Jeez,
Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens.
Yeah, I mean, I'm done, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess that was one way to end it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we covered it.
No, I'm excited. I'm irrationally excited for a LSU Gold video to drop tomorrow.
I know, dude. That's gonna be a good one. Hopefully, they just like hang out with the team instead of the fucking equipment staff.
Yeah, let's not besmirch the equipment staff, but I think we've seen enough of travel plans.
Let's just say the support staff.
Yes.
Support staff. I'm ready to see like more team shit.
Yeah, we'll be at Fred's. We'll be at Fred's with Dave and Big Cat. So if y'all see us, just tell us what up.
I'm gonna be at See
that a
LaBerge for
fart?
opening of the new sports book.
Was that a flatulent?
Wasn't me.
You
It
had an
sounded like it
electronic.
was you.
You had an electronic fart.
You're gonna be there, Grant?
I'm gonna be at LaBerge for the grand opening of the new sports book.
Is that this weekend?
Yeah, that's why I think that's this weekend. Big Cat,
okay.
they're all gonna be there cutting the ribbon.
How many times are they gonna do that? I feel like that's every year. I feel like they've done that. Didn't they do that last year?
Well, they did it in Lake Charles. This is the one.
Oh, Baton Rouge.
Yeah, Baton Rouge.
Oh, okay.
All right, well,
that'll be fun.
tell them to hire a pot of gold.
Yeah. Well, that's been our DMs are pretty much that. So we're just talking about dollars now.
All right.
Oh, and yours?
Yeah, me and Big Cat.
Gotcha.
His friends call him Daniel.
Oh, they might have to call Blue Wire. So we'll figure that out.
We'll figure that out.
They know.
That'll be easy.
They're actually buying Blue Wire.
Say the word, Mike.
Over and out, boys.